Alright, where do I even begin with this? I've been putting off this video for the longest time because I knew this is supposed to be my masterpiece, an in-depth review, and so much more for my channel. It's one of the first videos that I wanted to build my channel on, but I just never got to it because it's such a daunting task. But I think it's finally time. This is my car review of my 2005 Lotus Elise. The 2005 Lotus Elise comes with a 1.8-liter naturally aspirated inline-4. It puts out 190 horsepower at 7,800 RPM and 138 pound-feet of torque at 6,800 RPM. The engine redlines at 8,250 RPM, and the car's mile-per-gallon rating is 20 city, 25 highway, 22 combined, but in real world, I get around 27 miles per gallon on 91 octane fuel. Now, the engine has a pretty high compression ratio of about 11.5 to 1, and the 2ZZ GE Toyota 4-cylinder has variable valve timing with intelligent lift. The car weighs less than 1 ton or 2,000 pounds, and it comes in at about 1950 pounds curb weight. 0 to 60 comes in at around 4.9 seconds, with a quarter mile time of 13.4 seconds at 101.4 miles per hour. Top speed is limited to 148 miles per hour, and that's drag limited. This car is a rear mid-engine vehicle, rear-wheel drive, 2-seater Targa with a 6-speed manual transmission. The Lotus Elise began production in 1996 during a period when Lotus Cars was transitioning ownership to Malaysian car company Proton. It was designed under supervision from Romano Artioli, who also owned Bugatti at the time. The Elise was named after Artioli's granddaughter, Elisa, who was shown in the driver's seat of the car as the car was unveiled in Frankfurt in 1995. The first generation was designed by Julian Thompson and engineered by Richard Rackham. This first generation Elise weighed 1,598 pounds to go with a horsepower rating of 118 out of a 1.8-liter Rover K engine. This was good enough to get this car with a weight-to-power ratio of 13.5 pounds per horsepower to 60 miles per hour in 5.8 seconds. Production of the first generation Elise ended in 2000, with the Series 2 picking up in 2001. The Series 2 picked up new styling to go along with the changes in the chassis, and it wasn't until 2005 where Lotus changed up their power plant with a new Toyota engine that helped federalize the car to prepare for sale in the United States. In 2005, the Lotus Elise was finally brought to the United States with the 2ZZ GE 1.8-liter 4-cylinder Toyota engine that was shared in the Toyota Corolla, Matrix, Pontiac Vibe, and the Celica GTS. This new power plant, tuned with help from Yamaha, helped get the federal Elise to some impressive performance numbers when released with a 0 to 60 claimed in 4.9 seconds, despite the weight growing to just under a ton. Now, the exterior of the car looks incredible, and I really think this car will never look old or dated. The car is a Targa, which allows 3 different looks to the car. One with the hardtop on, which is often considered the best looking. The soft top is another look, and finally, topless. The car looks great from nearly all angles, and many non-car people mistake it for an exotic costing 2, 3, or 4 times as much. The interior is simply one of the weakest parts of the vehicle. This is the polar opposite of comfort and luxury, with each seemingly missing or compromised part of the interior having some weight-saving purpose. Lack of most sound-deadening material, exposed aluminum, limited optional carpeting, a seriously compromised audio system with only 2 speakers in the dash and 2 behind the seats, simple one-piece bucket seats, all do their part in saving weight. The fixed bucket seats hold you in very well, but they're thin and uncomfortable, especially on long drives. There's also a huge lack of storage space. There's one small map pocket behind the seats, and the quote-unquote glove compartment is just an open shelf. At least my model comes with the optional air conditioning. As far as suspension and handling goes, simply put, the Lotus Elise and its siblings, the Exige and Track Focus models like the 211, are some of the best handling cars, period. Few cars have the lightness excellent fine-tuned control, and give this level of driving input and response on the road. A common phrase you might hear about well-handling cars are that they drive like a go-kart. But I never drove karts until after I owned an Elise, and I was surprised that go-karts drove so similarly to the Elise. While I haven't driven many supercars and other track-only cars, I've never driven street cars, especially stock ones that drive as precisely as the Elise does. Compare this to the Miata, and the Mazda's body roll is excessive. Compared to an FRS, it's just on another level more precise. As far as the power goes, the 1.8-liter engine, naturally aspirated Toyota power plant, puts out 190 horsepower stock. Comparing horsepower figures, you would think that this car's all looks, akin to some Saturn Sky with no oomph to match, but the Elise's 190 horsepower matches very well with the lightweight 1-ton chassis, 10.26 pounds per horsepower. This speaks well of the car, and the Elise sprints to 60 in a respectable 4.9 seconds. Be aware, however, that much more conventional cars will pull ahead once you hit highway speeds. On the track, novices unable to take full advantage of the handling will want for more power, or if you encounter a highway pull on public roads. But for legal street use, it's more than adequate. Still, I do desire a little more power and wonder what 300 horsepower would do in this chassis. Overall comfort. The car is among the least comfortable vehicles I've ever driven or ridden in. The seats can't recline, and only the driver's seat even slides forward and back. The air conditioning is only adequate to lower the cabin temperatures optimistically by 10 degrees, and the radio and audio system, which is made up of only 2 speakers on the dash and 2 behind the seats, are tinny and poor. Long drives are a chore if they aren't carving up windy B roads or canyons, and it's nearly impossible to get in and out of the car gracefully, or looking like you weren't just birthed out. The seating positions place you nearly shoulder to shoulder with your passenger, and it can get quite awkward when you brush up and touch the passenger's leg or bump their arm while shifting. But the pros. If you want an exotic sports car but can't afford to spend supercar money, this car could be for you. The styling is excellent, and it can really give off that perception of wealth if that's your cup of tea. The power combined with the nearly unrivaled handling makes this car a very quick, street-legal track weapon. Another great point about this car is the drivetrain reliability. Due to the Toyota drivetrain, parts and maintenance on the Toyota-derived parts can be very affordable and relatively easy to maintain when compared to a Ferrari or a McLaren. It's simply an incredibly unique, fun little car. The cons. Okay, the sacrifices for low weight are a double-edged sword, with most of the negative aspects being the comfort and interior sacrifices. Many people who purchase these cars and can't live with the drawbacks tend to be short-term owners. Build quality isn't great, being hand-built, low-volume British cars with a lot of cheap parts zip-tied or glued together. It squeaks, rattles, and a funny Lotus-ism is that it's the norm, that they all do that sometimes. Finally, be careful with the exterior of the car, as a typical fender bender will usually cause damage to the fiberglass body, which will cost thousands of dollars in damage. So, I'll be ranking the Lotus Elise according to my scoring system, explaining how I came to each grade. In the looks department, I give the Lotus Elise a perfect 7. I think the Elise looks incredible, and the design, I think, will never look dated. It has the mid-engine exotic sports car look that many think costs over $100,000. Acceleration, I give it a 5. It has a sub 5 second 0 to 60 at 4.9 seconds. Handling, I give it a 7. I really don't think many other road cars can reach this level of precision. Luxury, I give it a 1. This is one of the least luxurious cars I've ever driven. 99% of the luxury is sacrificed for performance. Practicality, I also give this a 1. Make a basketball hoop with your arms. Okay, that's about as big as the trunk gets. The lack of storage space, in addition to having no back seat, results in a score of 1. Not even the fact that I average 27 miles per gallon saves it because it uses premium. Quality and reliability. I give it a 3. The quality is questionable, but the reliability of all the non-Lotus parts is good. One really major weak part that I want to mention is the stock radiators that have plastic end caps. These tend to leak after roughly 10 years, and there's a whole list of other quirks and reliability issues that will be showed in another video. In the value category, it scores a 5 at $35,000. I value the Elise at a 5 on the value scale due to its price appreciating currently from its rock bottom that hit a few years ago at around $30,000. It's relatively affordable for the average guy, and the exclusivity and special nature, in addition to its great looks and great driving experience, give it a great value of 5. I dock points for its negative quirks and difficulty doing things that a larger manufacturer could support. So the total score comes to a 29. In conclusion, very simply put, I love this car. Even if acquiring it wasn't so easy, as you can check out my other video, it was worth every penny. It was worth every aggravating moment because it's such a special car. I hope you guys enjoyed my 2005 Lotus Elise in-depth car review. So I hope you guys enjoyed that video. Please like, comment below, subscribe, and check out some of my other videos. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.